Do you not wonder what is in it?
In what?
The play.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're unpacking what's fact and what's fiction in Chloé Zhao's Shakespearean drama Hamnet. There will be spoilers for Hamnet, and we guess Hamlet too.
Is it true you know everything about a person by touching them here?
Based on Maggie O'Farrell's novel, Hamnet stars Paul Mescal as a young William Shakespeare.
That place in your head is now more real to you than anywhere else.
Like the book, the film tiptoes around saying the name Shakespeare, although anyone even remotely familiar with his work can connect the dots. The film and book are even more about Shakespeare's wife, Agnes, played by Jessie Buckley.
What are you looking at?
You.
Why? I thought you were a man of words, Master Tutor.
Eldest daughter, Susanna, followed by twins Hamnet and Judith. Will is constantly away from his family, putting on plays in London. Whenever he returns, though, his love for his wife and children is never called into question.
Will you be brave?
Please! When shall we three meet again?
Our children's hearts beat. They smile.
Will isn't present when young Judith comes down with the plague. He returns to find that Judith survived, but Hamnet tragically didn't. As Agnes falls into despair, Will throws himself into writing.
To die, to sleep, perchance to dream.
When Agnes learns that Will has written a new play entitled Tragedy of Hamlet, she assumes that he's exploiting their son's death.
Do you not wonder what is in it?
In what?
The play.
Upon arriving at the Globe Theatre, Agnes sees that the play is actually Will's way of processing grief. Although the titular character dies, Hamlet gets to grow up, whereas Hamnet only lived to see age 11.
And I see you in London working with your father.
In the theatre.
At the playhouse.
Will plays the ghost of Hamlet's father, allowing him to reconnect with his late son. Agnes also finds closure as she reaches out to the actor playing Hamlet. In a clever bit of casting, Noah Jupe portrays Hamlet, while his little brother Jacoby Jupe plays Hamnet. It's a faithful adaptation of O'Farrell's book, which adds up since she co-wrote the screenplay. Is it true to Shakespeare's life, however?
To see him as a human and to see the woman beside him and the family beside him, and I guess to imagine where one of his greatest plays could have been born from his own personal tragedy.
Despite being the most iconic playwright who ever lived, much about Shakespeare's personal life remains a mystery. We know this much is true. He had 3 children, Susanna Hall, Hamnet Shakespeare, and Judith Quiney. Shakespeare was also married, although his wife's maiden name was Anne Hathaway.
I have no talent for waiting.
The women in my family see things.
It makes sense why the film avoids calling attention to this name, as audiences would expect Mia Thermopolis to appear.
Shut up!
I beg your pardon?
There is some historical backing to calling her Agnes. In her father's will, she was referred to as Agnes. Maybe this was her real name, or perhaps it was a glaring typo. It goes to show that there are still some significant holes in the life of Agnes Hathaway. Thus, Hamnet takes some creative liberties with filling them in.
Tell me a story.
What story would you like?
Something that moves you.
Hamnet depicts Agnes as practically being one with nature, calling upon a pet hawk as the town dubs her a forest witch. Agnes feeds into these rumors by reading Will's hand, suggesting she can predict the future.
You touched me here. What did you see?
I saw a landscape.
Saw a landscape.
Spaces. Caves. Tunnels and oceans.
Given the limited historical resources concerning Hathaway's life, we can't definitively say that none of this is true. Of course, there aren't any records to support these scenes either. Likewise, there's no way of knowing if Hathaway gave birth to Susanna alone in the woods, or if Judith was thought to be stillborn before pulling through. While we can chalk most of this up to dramatic license, historians agree that Shakespeare and Hathaway married in 1582.
18-year-old William Shakespeare and 26-year-old Anne Hathaway paid a £40 bond for their marriage license outside Stratford-upon-Avon. 6 months later, their daughter Susanna was born.
Hathaway was believed to be about 3 months pregnant when they got hitched, as the film portrays. Hamnet and Judith were also fraternal twins, both baptized in 1585.
You're having twins, my girl.
This might explain why twins were prevalent in some of Shakespeare's later works, such as Viola and Sebastian in Twelfth Night. not to mention the multiple twins in the Comedy of Errors. While young Hamnet died in 1596, the exact cause is open to discussion. Given the time and location, it was more than likely the plague, as seen in the film, but we can't say with absolute certainty.
And he dies here, we see, at age 11 and a half. So we don't know how Hamnet died. This record is simply a record recording his burial.
As for the poetic scene where Hamnet takes away Judith's illness and dies in her place, this feels more like something that would happen in Shakespeare's plays rather than in Shakespeare's life. That said, the film does echo Shakespeare's struggle to balance work with family.
I'll miss you. But I have to go, you understand,
I know. I understand.
Considering that Shakespeare's career was taking off by the time he became a father of 3, it's safe to assume that he wasn't home much to see his children grow.
I need you to look after your mother and your sisters. Will you do that?
Yes.
Will you be brave?
Yeah.
Since he was busy putting on plays in London, it wouldn't be a stretch to say that Shakespeare and Hathaway were living very separate lives. The, quote, second best bed that Shakespeare left to Hathaway in his will has invited speculation among scholars, with some seeing it as evidence of a strained relationship, while others believe it was a sign of affection.
This could lend credence to the idea that this was their marriage bed, but it could also support the story that it could possibly have been the bed or the bedding that Anne brought with her to the marriage, and therefore personal to her and perhaps a family heirloom of hers.
During his time away from his wife, some argue that Shakespeare had affairs with women and men. The film leaves this vague, as there are only a handful of scenes following Shakespeare in London.
You should go to London.
Most of the film centers on Hathaway, who runs the household with her husband constantly away.
I always felt that a lot of biographers have really downplayed Shakespeare's children and his wife.
We see Shakespeare rush home as fast as he can upon receiving word of Judith's illness. He's too late to say goodbye to Hamnet, however.
Mama!
They may be gone.
Mama!
My boy.
He lives not.
Historians debate whether Shakespeare was present when Hamnet died, or if he was at his son's funeral. Even if he wasn't, that doesn't mean Hamnet's passing didn't deeply affect Shakespeare. This leads to the film's biggest question mark. Was Hamnet the inspiration for Hamlet?
And I just went back to the plays and I was like, what would have caused somebody to write something like this?
It's easy to see why so many have put 2 and 2 together, as the names were only 1 letter apart. In fact, the names Hamlet and Hamnet were considered interchangeable at the time.
It just always fascinated me, the link between the death of the son and the writing of the play Hamlet.
The dates also line up, as Hamlet was written sometime between 1599 and 1601, not long after Hamnet's death.
What do you wish to do, Hamlet?
I shall be one of the players with a sword.
Sword?
Yes, and I shall clash it against the sword of the other player.
Early in his career, Shakespeare was better known for comedies. While he'd written some tragedies, Shakespeare explored the genre more following his son's passing, possibly drawing from personal anguish. Since writers often take inspiration from real life, it's not unreasonable to think that the loss of a child would inspire the most famous Shakespearean tragedy.
The boy, I felt, was relegated to a literary footnote and was forgotten about and didn't even have a gravestone or memorial in the church here. He's got a play in his own name.
Of course, much of this ultimately comes down to speculation. Some scholars believe that any perceived parallels between Hamlet and Hamnet are coincidental. After all, the name Hamnet was common back in the day, with Shakespeare's son possibly being named after a local baker.
Will you be brave?
Yes.
Will you be brave?
Yes! Yes, I'll be brave! I'll be brave!
It's worth noting that Hamlet might have been based in part on a lost play called Ur-Hamlet, which Shakespeare may or may not have written.
He's got more inside of him than any man I've ever met.
Who are you looking for?
William Shakespeare.
The Spanish tragedy is also one of the various works that could have influenced Hamlet. While there probably wasn't one solitary inspiration for Hamlet, there's reason to believe that the play was a meditation on Shakespeare's grief.
Will we go with you this time?
No, not yet. Hey. I'll miss you.
This is reflected in one of the more surprising elements that Zhao's film gets right in the final act. We don't know what Hathaway thought of Hamlet, or if she attended a performance at the Globe. However, Shakespeare did originally play the ghost of Hamlet's father on stage, tying into the theory that he was trying to connect with his son from beyond the grave.
What do you see?
What do you see?
She will live.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Hamnet could have been an inspiration behind Shakespeare's other plays. The grief that Lady Constance endures over the loss of her son Arthur in King John is one example.
Grief fills up the room of my absent child. Lies in his bed, walks up and down with me.
Once again, though, it's difficult to say where Shakespeare's mindset was when he put these plays from quill to parchment. Whether or not Hamlet is factual, it's not like Shakespeare was the biggest stickler when it came to historical accuracy.
Why never said a horse, my kingdom for a horse? Who made that up? Why, William Shakespeare, of course.
If you dissect the tragedy of Julius Caesar or the tragedy of Macbeth, you're going to find more than a few dramatic inventions. Of course, those are some of the most timeless works ever written. Likewise, Hamlet is a great piece of historical fiction that will leave you seeing Shakespeare and his family in a whole new light.
Why?
Bye.
Why?
Bye.
Why?
Tune in next time when we explore the true stories behind Shakespeare in Love, Anonymous, and Hamlet 2. Well, not really. Unless you want to see that, let us know in the comments.